Hi, everyone. Very good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us for our series of Meet with Digital Thinkers Fireside Chat. We have been doing this series for the last 2-3 months, where we have been showcasing stories of digital leaders who are transforming business using new age technologies. And today we bring to you one such dynamic digital leader. And before we actually get ahead with the fireside chat, I want to just take a few minutes to set the context for today's session. Today, we are all in the middle of the information revolution. It's not just a revolution, it's a barrage of information, which is requiring organizations to fundamentally change the way they work. And this new way of working requires enabling a unified experience, both online and offline, as well as providing a single platform to meet all work requirements, a kind of one-stop shop, so to say. Now, the future of work is built on collaboration, and today more than ever, the need for collaboration is crucial to ensure zero disruption to business as they navigate through the uncertainty. Now, disparate and siloed platforms are hardly the answer that you're looking for. They are unable to meet the unified collaboration experience that organizations today have come to expect in today's dynamic work environment. Disparate platforms for email and different components of collaboration working separately can end up creating information and communication silos, impacting productivity and efficiency. So what organizations need today is a unified one-stop collaboration platform that can keep up with the growth and expansion while supporting the expectations around speed, agility, and flexibility that today's collaborative environments require. Now, especially considering that a large portion of the enterprise workforce today is pivoted towards remote working and is gradually moving towards a more flexible working in the future as well, a cohesive collaboration experience is key to business success. So what can really help businesses push the boundaries of collaboration around performance to empower business transformation is cloud. Now, ubiquity and removing the complexities around technology that cloud enables can redefine collaboration and take it to a whole new level. And today we bring to you the story of one such organization, and this is the story of Times Internet, one of India's leading digital consumer platforms. Now, with over 5,500 employees collaborating seamlessly on cloud to successfully serve over 110 million users while improving productivity and lowering costs, there's a collaboration story that is worth hearing. And to talk about this journey, I have with me Sumit Malhotra, CIO, Times Internet. Sumit has over 18 years of experience in the industry. He has extensive experience in system engineering across that full technology stack. And as the CIO of Times Internet, Sumit collaborates with the leadership in setting up the company's IT strategy, especially regarding infrastructure and information security. He has been instrumental in building and maintaining orchestration platform, which enables application developers to run cloud-native workloads across public or private cloud to improve developer productivity, reduce infrastructure costs, and increase systems reliability. So thank you so much, Sumit, for joining us. And to take the discussion forward and understand Times Internet's cloud journey, I would like to invite Priyadarshi Mohapatra, Director, Google Cloud India. Priyadarshi, or Priyo as he likes to be called, is a veteran of the industry with over 2.5 decades of experience in both enterprise and consumer space in India. At Google, Priyo is leading the cloud business for both North and East of India. So thank you so much, Priyo, for joining us to take this fireside chat forward. So I will hand it over to you. And before that, while the chat is going on, I would request all our viewers, if you have any questions, you can type in the questions in the question box that you can see in front of you. So we will get those questions answered towards the end in the Q&A section. So Priyo, over to you to take the discussion forward.
Shipra, thank you so much. And Sumit, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. I think, Sumit, if we can have your video on so that the audience, get to see you when they hear you. And welcome again, Sumit. And I think, Sumit, you've been part of a journey which many people would dream to be part of. Today's day and age, everybody has been talking about digital transformation, but we all know that, Times Internet has been a pioneer. You've been a digital publishing organization. But what's more fascinating is this whole transformation journey that you have in becoming a digital products company. I mean, I would be amazed, how you have actually managed to serve over 110 million users every day and probably 450 million monthly average users, which is absolutely fascinating. So can you tell us a little bit more about this journey of yours, where you started from being a digital company but have become a much larger digital consumer platform?
Sure. First of all, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me here. Delighted to have this conversation with you, Priya. Times Internet, predominantly, we have been in business for about 2 decades now. If I look at our journey in last 2 decades, the first decade is primarily about being a digital extension to our parent company, which is Times Group. So Times Internet is, and currently also is, a digital arm of the BCCL, which is our parent company. So at that point in time, we used to build products to reach digital consumer in India, predominantly on the channels like news, sports, entertainment, fashion, and food. But I think in 2012 specifically, things changed dramatically. Until 2012, although things were doing well for us, we were number one in most of the areas which we were operating in. But there was no clarity of the end state for us. In 2012, when Satyan took over, we actually spent a lot of time in identifying what we want to do for next 5 years. So there was a 5-year plan which was laid out on what would be our team like in 5 years from now. What is the culture we expect to see in next 5 years? What do we need to? What is the effort we want to put in to see that happen? So actually, the big change which we did was we wanted our teams to be entrepreneurial. We wanted them to be of strong product tech backgrounds, with strong hunger to take and achieve audacious goals. While we were looking at all this, the reason we were looking at this is because before 2012, our operating model was quite different. We were used to outsourcing things. The product development at many places were also outsourced. So we were focusing on things, not all the things which we want to build. We were focusing on a lot of things which we do not want to work on. Like, for example, our email and collaboration platform, right? We had an in-house collaboration and email platform, which we had no interest in managing, but we were managing because that's the way things were at that point in time. So because the view was, when the view was actually made and it was discussed with various leaders, so one of the other change which we did was around decentralization. We have, as you know, we are like at current point in time, we are about 40 different brands, which are actually operate in standalone units, while they come together and integrate well in the fabric too. So we all could achieve this by when we actually promoted decentralization. Each of our digital properties actually became independent decision makings units, with their own views, with their own path, with their with actually clear ownership on balance, cost, profit, margins, and how they want to create product, how they want to market the product. So the full independence was provided to the leaders of each respective group by decentralizing the power which was earlier actually put into select few. So this actually pushed us, because then we actually had not just few minds which are actually creating strategy, but actually it's like about 50 people contributing to the company strategy, which each owning their own piece and driving growth in each department. So that really helped. The other key initiative during this was setting up a T-Labs. I don't know whether you heard about T-Labs or not, but it has now been renamed as well. It's an early stage mentor-driven accelerator T-Labs at that point in time was one of the first accelerator in the country. And it was until like any other corporate accelerator, it had independent charter and was always aligned to make the entrepreneurs successful. So when we actually got into T-Labs and reached out to the market and people worked with the entrepreneur, actually it led to a sudden influx of the energy and the vision. So what we were talking actually became like like on the top, on one segment actually was being discussed all over the company. And it got imbibed into the culture so well that people really loved it, saying they have the independence, they have the resources to do what they want to do, and they have accountability to, because the goals are also being set in each of these areas by the leaders to ensure that they also do not lose behind. So today at this point in time, TL has about 40 plus digital products. Which not just enable 450, actually we currently, as per May data on Comscore, we currently enable 557 million active users. That actually is 8 out of 10 Indians with access to internet, just behind Google and Facebook. So that was about a little bit journey about what we did to transition from a media company to a digital press company.
Awesome. Oh, what an amazing journey, Sumit. And you've been part of this journey. So, there's so much to learn from you, because in today's day and age, every organization is trying to become a digital organization, irrespective of the business they're in. But what's more fascinating are some of the points you made, Sumit, that it's not about just creating digital products. I think somewhere it starts with that whole mindset of being an entrepreneur, right? It's like you looked at organizations within your larger group which had their own independence, which had their own identity, very entrepreneurial. At the same time, the culture which you created, which was uniform. I think what cut across all these organizations was that cultural element which you bring in, which uniforms and binds them somewhere together. And not just bringing this entrepreneurial element within the organization, but you guys actually helped many other entrepreneurs, empowered them on how they could go on their own journey. And I know that when you try to do this, Sumit, from your perspective, if I come back, you didn't just have an accountability to all the consumers you were having on your digital platform, to many people who are your inside stakeholders, right? How do you enable this massive entrepreneurial workforce within the organization to communicate, collaborate, work, and have their productivity all on a single platform, so that, while they maintain this cultural aspect of the organization, they independently work. And you took a very, very bold call of, getting them all on a unified platform. I would love to hear, how was the journey there and how you went about getting all of them on a common platform. More importantly, if you can share with our audience, did you actually move them away from different discrete platforms, and what were the challenges? What did you really face? I'd love to hear some thoughts on that.
Yeah, sure. Let me tell you a little bit about our environment about 5 years ago. We actually, So on the group side, we had a single collaboration platform in which we had invested in. Okay, the collaboration was deployed in a hybrid manner to enable some cost efficiency. So we actually had local servers, so some things on the cloud, some things on the local. The setup which are on the local setup was managed by in-house team. We used to, but considering this, there are a lot of mix and match. So there was a local hardware which needs to be deployed and managed. There was always constraints on the local hardware, because, like example, there were a few mailboxes which were on the local, I would say, collaboration platform, and there was something which was on the remote. Now, I don't know, like many of you can relate it. We used to use Microsoft Outlook to access our collaboration platform. And you would actually get an email saying your mailbox is getting full. Now, then somebody will actually have to archive the PSGs, and then you have to figure out a solution to back up those PSGs and then make sure they're getting backed up all the time, because now backing up a server is a different thing, and backing up a client is like altogether a different solution, because a client could be, may not be inside the network. He could be working in a remote area. He may not even have connectivity to push that large chunk of data which actually gets changed every day. So there were like so many challenges. If I add a few more, our conferencing solution, which we are using at that point in time, used to be a combination of Polycom, used to have Cisco, used to have Skype for Business, all together. Okay, so people were using so many disparate platforms. And when a call used to happen, specifically a guy, actually a senior guy, let's say management meeting actually is happening. So there is one guy, IT guy, actually standing just outside the door to make sure if there is something doesn't work, he can be called upon and at the very instant, and people don't lose time. The meeting rooms were such that whenever they have to set up a video call, everybody has to come like 10-15 minutes just before, just to make sure that things are actually working. And at many times, people will actually waste time because something will break in the between, and you have to call an IT team, somebody will come, move some cables, make some changes to settings, and then things will start working again. So it was like doing work was specifically collaboratively was like insanely tough until 5 to 6 years ago. That's what I would say. It's like it was so tough that the amount of number of calls which we used to make was less than one per person on average per month. So that's how horrible it was. If I compare it to now, it's like I think it's like upteenth time higher now. Another thing was then the solution was another solution also brought in some security related features. So it had antivirus built in, it has MFA built in. But when you start implementing it and started using it in your real life, you would see that there are some shortcomings. The product is not top notch. Then what we did was we invested in another MFA product, which we said, okay, let's use that product and stitch it with this product and then see it works. Now, while we continued this journey over like 4 or 5 years to make this product work, we ended up having at least replacing like that one product which we invested in became like 8 or 9 products which we were using. And with no correlation, no connection between each other, it was difficult to train, difficult to use, and like a horrible thing, complete nightmare for everyone.
Sumit, you know what? It reminds me, there was a time when I used to head an organization which was into collaboration tools, and we always used to joke saying the biggest advantage any collaboration tool can get into consumers is if the meeting starts on time. Because like you mentioned, every time you have a meeting scheduled specifically of a senior person, you need somebody standing outside just to ensure that everybody is able to log in and start. But you, I think, gave us a very, very interesting perspective on that whole collaboration thing, where you touched upon the point of it's actually a different way of working. It's not about what products you use. It's not just about the features, functionalities, or security. It's about a new way of working. You can collaborate from anywhere, and you don't want to be dependent on people to get you on your very important brainstorming sessions or important management agenda setting. But you really don't want to be spending time energy there. You'd be spending time energy on the content and the quality of the conversation. And in your journey, I know that you have looked at cloud to in some way help you collaborate and create this whole platform. So it would be interesting to hear your perspective that, having seen all the challenges, having gone through that journey, how did cloud really help you, overcome some of these challenges and bring the value that you wanted to bring to your stakeholders?
So see, we have a big tech team, okay, and we have built, we currently run and manage some large platforms ourselves. So one of the first idea which came to our mind is why not we build it ourselves? Okay, but I think we quickly backed out because we wanted to just focus on what we want to build and manage, and we wanted to find a partner actually who actually understands and want to work with us and help us and make this a success for us. 7-8 years ago, our interactions with our group companies actually increased tremendously. So we currently engage with them on news feeds, what kind of news needs to be created, and a lot more things. So in this, there was a very high demand for being collaborative within the company and outside the company both. And the idea was to find tools which can harbor collaboration. And the tools which we were using, although had a promise to collaborate, but they were not. They were actually they were a hindrance in themselves. Like for example, many of the tools are actually a client-based solutions. Okay, so they would have a web version, they would have an app version, they would have a desktop version, and they would enable you offline using a client. And then what make things impossible to do is that pushing a change across all 5 platforms is almost impossible. Like if I have to make a change, I have to make sure that the client which they are running are also the newest one. And so if I have to push a change today on my platform and I want my users to use it, considering they're consuming it using a, let's say, Microsoft Outlook client, they will not see it unless the update is actually installed on the machine. And we all know that how impossible it is to keep the machines updated all the time. And even if you do a monthly or a monthly patch management cycle, then also you actually have to wait for 30 to 45 days at the very minimum for the new change to be visible across all. So it's like the velocity of change is almost is very slow, specifically on collaboration platforms which are non-cloud native. So although G Suite actually does have capabilities to use clients, in our environment, we actually do not permit, don't even permit a client-based solution, client-based access, because it actually hinders the velocity of the change. Second, the biggest problem was the context switching. So we wanted a system which was actually can integrate well with our fabric. So we have internal monitoring system, we have internal, so we have about 8 different systems which are homegrown, which are used for different purposes. And people spin off new systems every now and then. And we need to make sure that the people work in, not on the emails, they work collaborative together in a workspace so that everybody sees what the other is doing. Currently, when you switch from one application to another, and you have to switch from 1 to 8, actually, you can imagine, then people lose a lot of time, a lot of focus, a lot of productivity was getting lost just in this context switching. I haven't measured myself, but a typical, so if you talk about the typical industry survey, they say people waste at least 10 to 15% time if they have to do a context switching. And we were doing context switching across 8 or 9, at least at that point in time. And there were many normal advantages which we all know about cloud, like you can scale up anytime. You can turn off feature anytime. You can spend on adoption as opposed to reaping benefits, and like you can spend on adoption and reaping benefits as opposed to just working on how to deploy this tool so that people can start seeing it like 60 days from now. So I think cloud is very, very important. I think if we would have not been on cloud, it would be impossible for us to work in current day scenario. When we started working from home, I think our collaboration platform was not impacted at all. I think we were not impacted at all by any of it because of our widespread adoption across the various solutions which we currently use, not just collaboration.
No, I mean, it's so fascinating to hear the things that you preach about the power of cloud and what it can do, and to see how in real life it translated for you and your organizations, because you were large users of cloud. And like you mentioned, I think when the pandemic happened, you were actually more prepared than many other organizations because you didn't have a challenge to figure out how do you make people collaborate and work remotely. Two specific keywords I picked up, Sumit, when you were describing your journey and got stuck in my mind. One was about the velocity of change and the other was about context switching. And to me, for a digital company like yours, it becomes extremely critical about, how do you have speed, agility, and flexibility in whatever you do? Because that will sort of define the dynamism and the ubiquity of a company like Times Internet, which is serving those hundreds and millions of customers that we are talking about everyday basis. So in this whole, life cycle of yours, what's the role that G Suite has played to enable you on this speed, agility, and flexibility? Because I know that you're one of the largest user of G Suite as a platform.
Well, in one line, I would say it's literally difficult to dream of doing what I'm doing right now without the power of a G Suite at this point in time. It's just impossible. It's like
wow.
It's currently we're using G Suite APIs, bots, sheets, docs, slides, tasks, workspace. I think so well at so many places. I think it's right now embedded in most of our applications at this point in time. I think the widespread adoption, which I see on my analytics, like we have strong adoption of platform. 70% are using Sheets every month. About 60% using Docs. Everybody is doing meet calls. There is so much high adoption on the Hangouts. It's like people are eager to just go and explore. And I've seen, like example, Google G Suite actually would release at least 8 or 9 features every month. Okay. Now, the eagerness of people to adopt these new technologies is such that people come to us with saying, okay, I'm using this. This is a new thing which has come in yesterday in beta. I'm not able to see it, right? So it's like, I particularly remember this is because I think in July 15th, you actually started, you actually created Workspace, which was very integrated with email, chat, task, everything came together really nicely. So I like 20th of July, I actually got an email saying, hey, it doesn't show up. They said, yeah. Then I got another one on 25th. Then we had to send like a mailer saying it's going to take at least a month because although Google has announced it, but it has not started rolling out even if for the customer who are actually in early stage adoption. So it is like, so it's, I don't think you actually have a replacement for a solution in which there's a pull. So you actually don't have a push, it's just a pull. The great thing, and this was not just, it's a recent scenario. When we started adopting this collaboration platform, we rolled it out about 4 years ago. At that point in time, we thought, okay, we will get a lot of hindrance from it, saying, and maybe like 50% will start using the new collaboration platform and 50% won't. Okay. By end of the year, I think not end of the year, we started in somewhere in September, somewhere in December, when we looked at our overall allocation, I think we had 90% utilization on the collaboration platform and only 10% using, and that's specifically for specific use cases. And since then, we have never looked back. Although change is a difficult thing to push, but if you push really hard on it, I think it's just something which you cherish for years.
No, I think really well put, Sumit. I think end of the day, if the end user sees value, then you really don't have to push. It's a pull that creates it. And I think I couldn't have said it better. You explained it really well. One thing that came to my mind, as when we specifically all of us who are on the technology side, whenever we do adopt a particular technology, when we standardize, like you have standardized messaging collaboration across the organization, end of the day, questions get asked on, is the data showing that there is benefit? Is there a business matrix that's getting impacted? So in your case, how you seen that? I mean, I'm sure you would have measured, what's the kind of impact from both business and technology side, right?
Yes, I think that's something which I do always. I think, okay. As I said in the beginning, we foresee that our cost savings would be 30% on a 3-year scale. But eventually that increased to about 47% in our first 3 year of contract. So that's just on talk about cost. Like if I compare my earlier licensing cost versus what I'm paying to use Google G Suite. I'm not talking about the features, the ease of use, and what the productivity time which I gained. It's just pure play ROI of my direct cost spend, which actually got saved. If I talk about IT metrics, considering we adopted a client-less approach, we actually see 95% reduction. Probably right now, I don't even get any call from on G Suite at all, 0, unless something people need some access to training or they don't understand how it is working and they need some hand-holding. I don't see anybody I'm getting any call related to it at all. And the biggest advantage for us is that everybody uses Gmail, right? So, and we are a young organization. Whenever anybody comes in, you don't have to train anybody about Gmail, okay? They already know about it, right? So the adoption is so quick. And then the other suite which is related to bots and other stuff, that's something which comes in and people, it's easy to use. It's like you just ask it and it gives you. I don't think you need to train the young generation about it. I don't think even I need to be trained about it, although my team built it. But still, it's so easy that the adoption is really high. I think we currently use our IT asset management system completely using bots. So if somebody has to ask, I have a laptop, desktop, I have a problem, everything goes through the bots, and like 60% of our problems are resolved by bots itself. It's very integrated, well integrated with our incident management fabric. Something goes down, we get a beep, it goes into our chat room, so people start talking about it. If let's say there's a performance degradation somewhere, then this one system will pick it up. Earlier, what used to happen is the system will send an email. Okay, now then it would send about 20 participants will get an email. Then somebody will start a chain. Then somebody will respond to a different chain. So that all is gone. Now everything comes into a one room. People just start responding to it right there and then. So there are no email versions, there are no document versions flowing around. You know what it is. It's always the source of the truth. You always have one thing which you're looking at it, and everybody is looking at the same thing. I think that's something which is phenomenal. Video calls I talked about. I think we virtually had 0 video calls 5 years ago. Now I think we make in current days and age. I think it would be I think I personally myself make about 30 calls a day at the very minimum. It might be 15 minutes on average. I think it's currently about 10 calls a day for everyone in this scenario. But even before COVID, I think the average was still about 3 or 4 calls. Even within there, we had a huge campus. So when we actually saw a strong adoption, people gradually moved away from walking into a different campus, different building, just prefer doing a meet from their desk or doing a hangout call instead. So I think it's a saving I can't quantify, and I don't think I even calculated and included in my ROI calculations, but it's always there. And although I'm actually putting the numbers very low in terms of employee productivity to be 5%, but I think the impact would obviously be huge. It's difficult to measure, but I think considering we cannot live it without it, I think it's just that it's considering I see G Suite adoption everywhere. Every tools is using some of the APIs, pushing the data and using it for the core collaboration system. I think it just shows how successful it is within our company.
Awesome. I think some very important points you made here. And before I go anywhere, I must say that anybody who's part of a digital transformation journey is part of the younger generation. And you are part of the younger generation. You've been the pioneer of the digital transformation journey. But I think you brought a very important point on how people were used to, Gmail, and the adoption was very, very high. And to me, I think you brought in the important point that this is not just about using a different technology, seeing a single source of truth, but this is about a new culture that is getting created in the organization. And I'm sure from some of the points that you made, it was very clear that it was a collaborative cultural transformation that happened within the organization, not just a technology adoption. But if I just change tact a little bit, Sumit, I want to go to a different area, and I'm sure our audience would like to hear. We heard a lot of the things from the organization, technology, and your perspective. I want to hear something from your employees' perspective. With this whole pandemic happening, you were more prepared as an organization than many other organizations. But communication, collaboration, and not just communication, collaboration, becoming productive, working from remote location became a key. And people had to transition overnight from being in the working from an office or a single location to working from multiple locations, working from home. So how did the employees in your organization, when you were such a, at the cutting edge of technology, actually adapt to this whole thing? How did they transition? I would like to hear something that you can share for the audience from the employee perspective.
I think it's primarily related to our adoption of cloud, not just in our collaboration suites. Okay. Across the company. When we move, so it's like we do not. So we actually adopt a zero trust approach to security. So people were used to working in one way only. So it's like if I'm working inside the office, I'm getting access to the application in one way, and the same way I can access it while I'm working from home or at the airport. I think that one way of working actually simplifies everything. And when you actually everything is on the cloud, which can scale up as on demand, I don't think you have to do anything at all. As a CIO, your job is just done when you actually just make a move and push people to just adapt to the new solution. After that, the solution takes care of itself. It has large stickiness. I don't think we faced any challenges. Considering the solution is built to be redundant, then you don't have to worry about the outages either. And Google being like a close partner, especially Team Computer is a very close partner for us. They currently work and help us. In IT helped us as well. We have taken their services on those front as well. So it was a easier synergy for us to work there. And I would like to bring about one special thing actually. For a digital adoption to be successful, change management is actually the key. And while people adopt to different approaches of change, I think one needs to figure out what works for them. While I can currently say, yes, my team did a brilliant job. One of the phenomenal things which actually happened was that we created our own change management program. So we did a sample testing of when we adopted a collaboration platform like G Suite. When we took an approach which was tested and proven by others, when we tried to deploy it, it didn't work for us. Okay. What we realized is that our audience is different. They want, we need something to catch their attention. So our change management process and adoption was, the training module was a custom created based on the videos and gamification to actually get them to pull. So once you get them hooked onto it, and when they're competing for learning about a new collaboration platform among themselves, then I think I don't think you need to do anything at all. Then people like to do that. People like to prove that they are better than others. Then I think everything else takes up from there.
True. I think it's such an important point there. This whole story about the change management, how an organization should look at it. It's not about one size fits all. You got to make it very, very organization specific. And what's your need? What are the challenges you might have in that change management? How you go about it? And you also mentioned a very important point on how your partner played a role with you in getting this whole thing done. So I think it gives me a great segue. But before I hand over to Shipra to probably ask the partner to also share with you, their journey and how they've been. Sumit, I must confess that this has been an amazing conversation for me. I've loved every bit of it. As a technology partner, you imagine the values that you will bring to the customer. But when I was hearing you, it was a learning session for me, and also seeing some of these things coming to life, coming to reality has been most amazing. So thank you again, Sumit. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure the audience would have loved to hear, and probably they will want to reach out to you to hear more. But with that, it gives me a good segue to hand it back to Shipra. Shipra, over to you. I've loved listening to Sumit, and over to you now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sumit. It was indeed a pleasure listening to you with so much of passion. You were talking about the collaboration in your environment, and like you rightly said, it was not just about the matrix, of how much percentage improvement in productivity or how much you were able to cut down on the costs. While I agree that the matrix are important, but it was about the whole culture, of collaboration that you have been able to establish within the organization. That is clearly very important, and I'm sure our audience will have a lot to take back with them in terms of optimizing the business value of collaboration on cloud. And thank you so much, Sumit, and thank you, Priyo, for that wonderful conversation. Actually brought about the essence of Times Internet's business transformation on cloud. So, and like you said, it's important to hear the partner side of the story as well, and because when it comes to really optimizing the cloud journey and getting the maximum results out of it, it's the partner plays a key role there. And I would like to invite Jatin Sawhney, Director, Team Digital Engineering for Team Computers. Jatin has over 2 decades of experience and is part of the core management at Team Computers. So Jatin, I'll hand it over to you here.
Thanks, Shipra, and thanks, Sumit. Such a wonderful sharing and giving a lot of insights about the journey that so far you have taken up with G Suite. Thanks, Sumit, for this sharing. It was very, very insightful. As indeed what Priyo said, it was a learning session. In fact, I'm a personal user, personally using G Suite for more than 12 years now. And I remember those days when we started up the entire Google journey back in 2008, when nowhere in the market anybody knows about Google having an enterprise solution called G Suite. Earlier, it used to call G Apps, and we started our journey in those days. And I could really relate with you, Sumit, the passion at which you were sharing and how it has been embraced inside the organization. And since I've been using it and our teams are using it, with a huge productivity increase in terms of how do we leverage collaboration. This collaboration word has been always a word. How do we collaborate better? But I have seen Google providing this collaboration as a platform, which actually, in true sense, gives the meaning of collaboration. So with this, I'll share a small presentation about ourselves, team, and a quick one on this, and also a journey so far about Google. As team, three areas that we largely focus upon. One is think, build, and operate. Pan-India operations covering almost every nook and corner of the country. More than 2,000 customers that we have in all segments, be it enterprise or mid-market or government and PSUs. We are running at a run rate of closing at around 1,600 crores possibly this year. And going great, being in this market for last 33 years. My tenure in team is pretty old. It's like 24th year going on, and really enjoying the journey with close to around 3,000 members that we have across the country, serving across various customers. On the think part, largely, if you look at the three pillars one is the analytics, the data analytics. Second is app modernization. And third is we're talking about the business transformation. Now, with these three things, businesses are really looking at what are the various technologies and solutions which are there, which can actually disrupt, the way they are working, and what innovations they can bring in the systems, in their processes, in the legacy system that they're using it, what all can be done. So we bring in those platforms and help customers bridge, understanding those needs of the customers and the technologies which are there across this data analytics and talking about the business transformation. So data visualization, BI has been an old journey so far for us, including the collaboration and the office productivity. While the digital platforms are taking over, where earlier it used to call more as portals and everything, but today we are talking about the digital platform giving an omni-channel experience to the customers, and also looking at automating the processes through RPA. And while big data, AI, ML are all part of the game today. So one side, we are helping customers make better decisions, but on the other side, we are also looking at how can we make their operations more efficient through these technologies. On the build part, what we call as digital plumbing, one side we are looking at helping customers build the entire infrastructure, one with desktops, laptops, printers with the end user devices. Second is on the data center, which is primarily looking at not just on-prem, but also looking at cloud. So GCP is something we are working very extensively, helping customers migrating their on-prem data to the cloud, and then building command centers and working around various other things. While networking, security, storage, and availability are part of this game, and partnering with all the industry veterans to look at how can we provide those better solutions to our customers. So one side, while we are helping customers build the entire infrastructure for them, building the entire solutions for them, where they can basically help make their operation more efficient. However, these infrastructure has to work. So through AMC support or break-fix supports, providing managed services, and today, while during COVID times, all users are actually working from home. How do we provide those support through remote infrastructure management services? So all these things are pretty much well established in team, and we are doing it for our customers since ages. And so one side we are helping customers build the infrastructure, but other side we are also ensuring that it works and it's running all the time. So how do we look at the market? While these are various verticals that we are operating upon, and if you look at each organization, each vertical, each operation and functions that each organizations are running, there are three things which everybody wants. One, how can I increase my sales? How can I increase my revenues? And second, how can I look at how do I reduce or optimize my costs? And also look at how do we improve our operations while security and compliance has to be in place. However, this COVID times, most of the organizations, during this COVID time, actually digital transformation that we've been talking about since many years, and this COVID times, this has actually accelerated the entire journey of moving from the legacy systems to taking a transformation towards my digital journey, so that we can increase our sales and looking at how do we reduce our costs and all those things. So we are engaging with our customers primarily in the think, build, and operate part, and looking at all the areas more holistically and engage much deeper and penetrate, so that we can address the needs of the end users. We have built a lot of frameworks, which basically looks for which we need the data as a source, and build those various platforms which can help customers, the end user actually in various needs of them. So one is we have Digital Academy for the training needs. We have catalogs, digital catalogs for providing. Most of the customers are talking about how do I make my product available to my customers through a portal, more from an e-commerce portal, or can we make a digital showrooms? In a manufacturing, people are talking about how can I, we have a very beautiful smart factory accelerator where in the manufacturing companies where the machine data is coming in, how do I monitor those, measure those machine productivity, performance on the real-time basis. So all these frameworks are readily available with us. We have extensively worked in these organizations. While the solutions on the emailing and collaboration and enterprise solutions with enterprise applications, mobile apps, streaming analytics are part of the entire portfolio. And we've been serving across these various verticals in this domestic market. Talking about Google, I really get a little more, it's more nostalgic for me, because I remember, as I said, in 2008, when we started up this practice, we were the ones who started up the Google practice in India. And I still remember when we were going out and meeting the customers were saying, Google ke paas enterprise solution bhi hai. We never knew about it. And that's something, a lot of education has actually went in letting the customer knows about, there's something called Google as an enterprise solution which can provide you better collaboration. And in those days, collaboration was not well understood. While today it is given that we need collaboration, but this was something we started up with. And over the journey for past 12 years, our experience has been into handling complex environment and large implementations, migrating the data from their legacy systems to cloud. What I have personally experienced with Google as a true native cloud app. A lot of companies being saying I'm a cloud company, but I have not got experience with anyone else other than Google, which is a true cloud native application. So with Gmail, while as a person, personally, we all use 90% of our people across the world. If you ask them what's your personal email ID, they will say gmail.com. And it has been like, I've never heard about people. It becomes a surprise. Like I remember, last week I was talking to one of my friends. I said, "Can you give me a personal ID?" He gave me something called yahoo.com, and I said, "Huh? Do you really have a Yahoo ID? Still, it's working." And so there are like, everybody is on Gmail, it's given. And but in enterprise, it was in early days, it was like people wants to explore. They were more skeptical about, more paranoid about their own data. How can we move it to the cloud? So I think that journey we have crossed. People have moved on with all those skepticism, and today it is well accepted. So our experience has been largely in migrating large data volumes, deployment and training. As what Sumit said, this realization has also come in for us, where change management is something was the key. The change management was not largely in terms of looking at one email system that I was using earlier, now moving into a Gmail kind of environment. Actually, it was not. Largely, the change management was bringing the cultural change inside the organization because we didn't have any collaboration. We don't know how to work in a collaborative mode. So how can we bring that change, the cultural change inside the organization? How do we really now start working on? So instead of sending emails to one to other or sending a document as an attachment, how can we share that document and then collaborate real time? So all these were part of the journey in the change management. And since then, in last 10, 12 years, more than 3 lakhs customers, users we are serving in this platform. Not just G Suite, we are also looking at, we have the Google platform, Google Cloud Platform, GCP, and nevertheless talking about Chromebooks, it's also picking up very, very fast. Running a small video talking about how G Suite actually helps.
G Suite reimagines the way teams collaborate, so your business has the tools it needs to create its best work together faster. Here's one example. Sammy forgot her Pixelbook on her kitchen counter this morning. But luckily for her, she's able to grab a loaner Chromebook and log in instantly with her 2-factor authentication security key. Organizations like Sammy's that use these keys have reported 0 account hijackings. Hangouts chat makes it easy for Sammy to collaborate with her team. 2 days? That's crazy! Sammy's team can share docs, sheets, and slide presentations right in the chat room, and the correct permissions are added automatically. In Slides, it's simple for Sammy's team to collaborate in real time, and they know exactly what next steps are because comments and action items can be assigned to specific owners. Julie needs Sammy to look up some information. With Cloud Search, Sammy can use the same technology that powers Google Search to quickly find the data and documents she needs across G Suite and the tools her company uses most, like Salesforce. Sammy's team can work together in Sheets in real time, making sure the data is always up to date. No one gets a workbook is locked warning. And just like Docs or Slides, Sheets lets you make comments to other collaborators or create trackable action items. With Explore in Sheets, Sammy can find insights in her data by asking questions in plain English, like, what is the average revenue per region? Sheets uses natural language processing to understand Sammy's request and give her the answers she needs instantly. There's the number Julie was asking about. Some topics are best discussed face-to-face, but setting up meetings takes time Sammy just doesn't have under her tight deadline. In Google Calendar, smart suggestions take the headache out of scheduling. Calendar suggests meeting times that work for everyone. It even recognizes time zones and work blocks, like how Rosa is in Madrid and Nick is in New York. And when it's time to meet, Sammy joins Hangouts Meet right from Calendar. Her teammates can also join from a phone or outside domains. Plus, it's easy to present materials like documents, or even a Jamboard session. While presenting, Sammy can continue working in real time. Sammy can even type a phrase like, Julie, follow up on this, and Google will leverage the power of natural language processing to create an action item. It even knows which Julie to assign it to. And when Sammy needs to send an email, Gmail's Smart Compose can offer suggestions as she types, saving valuable time. G Suite takes security seriously. To manage sensitive email communications, Sammy uses confidential mode in Gmail. This lets her put restrictions on messages so they can't be forwarded, copied, downloaded, or printed. Okay, Sammy sent the email. And naturally, she goes back to chat, where this all started. Finding a time that works for everyone isn't easy. But with the Meet bot, Sammy can enter a simple command with the names of the attendees, and Meet will figure out who they are and when they're available. Whether it's an urgent exec request or an everyday project, G Suite can help reimagine work for enterprise companies like yours.
Super awesome. The way actually we collaborate, and Google has really changed the entire definition and given a new meaning to the entire collaboration. Moving forward on this, we've been talking about it, and Sumit has wonderfully articulated the meaning of all these three things, talking about the communicate, collaboration, and control part of it in G Suite. It's a truly integrated platform, a true native cloud platform, which can not just help you just communicate through some emails back and forth, but how closely it can, coupled with calendar and with video conferencing and chats and everything, and collaborate with your docs, where you have Google Sheets and Google Word documents, where you can possibly back and forth through your emails and to the docs, you can collaborate, and wonderful control features. I never receive a single spam on my inbox, that's for sure. This is one of the great things that I enjoy. While all the security features, everything are all built in, we don't need to care about thought about it. Hey, what's going to happen about my data and everything? It's all secured. One thing which I've experienced with all legacy systems in place and putting a lot of other third-party systems on it to really control the spam, which basically today I don't receive a single spam on it. Beautifully does it. Talking about a couple of customers that we've been like Times Internet has been always been our a good journey in terms of how we have migrated them from the legacies to G Suite. DTDC is another where in a record time of just 9 days, we feel very proud of just saying 9 days, because it has actually was a challenge for us, and Mrinal and his team and actually worked very closely with our team to ensure that the entire data from one system is migrated to Google, and it has been done in a record time. There is Punj Lloyd, where they were using Lotus Notes and they want to migrate all their apps as well, not just the email, but also the application part of the Lotus Notes to be migrated to the Google platform. A lot of data, huge data that they have for each mailbox, that has to also get migrated. That we did fantastically. Talking about Dainik Bhaskar, in Bhopal, and migrating all their 11,000 users on the Google platform, and also work very closely with their teams to really look at how do we embrace the change management and then move them from the way they were looking at their email systems earlier. Now, how can they collaborate better? Various other customers we have migrated. There's a huge list of customers. Around more than 700 customers today we're serving. Not just there are a few which I listed out here with the IFL, Angel Broking, Times Internet we've been talking about here, with Hero and Britannia, and many more. I can go on with this kind of list of customers. To serve with love. That's what our motto has been, and we really want to work more closely with all our customers. And I would love to see the way Sumit smiling face and his team. That's what gives more motivation for us to really work more closely to our customers. Thank you very much. Over to you, Shipra.
Thanks, Jatin. Thank you for that quick glance through. So we have been getting some questions. In fact, I have the first question for you, Sumit. The question is that BCCL being a conglomerate company, you must be having multiple solutions in place. So did you face any issues while in terms of migration or integration with the G Suite?
Actually, nothing. Actually, not a bit. That's not at all. We know. We know it's very difficult to move a company of our size, about 5,000, 6,000 people, who work 24/7 together. Okay, so I really like. Although I really admire how Team Computer actually moved DTDC within 9 days, but in our case, even if I want to, I cannot. Because I just will not get permission to make that change so fast. We took an approach in which we moved our people in about 3 months. Our approach was to staggered. So the technology currently which is available, which G Suite has integrated, is to migrate a user by user instead of one shot out. So that gives everybody so much comfort that you are not taking the whole system down. You're just letting like few users know that tomorrow morning you don't have to log into the old system, you just have to log into the new system. So our approach was that we would notify people overnight saying, hey, this is what your schedule is today, which you have booked. Now you need to come in the morning tomorrow at 10 a.m. And attend this training, and then get your details and move forward with it. Because we wanted to ensure that people understand the system, and configure the system securely, start using it in the right manner from the day one itself. So that was our approach. So it was seamless, no issues at all. And mind you, our mailbox sizes were huge. We had about mailbox word size about 40 GB, 50 GB, which is like a lot of data, which had to be imported in the back end. And migration was just seamless.
Great. I think, yeah, you're right. One size doesn't fit all. So different organizations have different approach and depending on their nuances. So Priyo, the next question is for you that, we have seen G Suite being used by digital natives. And do you have references where traditional manufacturing organizations have also implemented G Suite?
Yeah, I think Jatin already gave a few examples, including organizations like Punj Lloyd and all, who are traditional manufacturing companies. But let me make a bigger point here than specifically calling out organizations. G Suite is about making the new way of working. G Suite is about a cultural change which prepares you to work in a collaborative manner. It's about a cultural transformation. So irrespective of whether you're a digital native or traditional company, I think if you're looking at a collaborative work culture to be created within an organization, I think G Suite is meant for you. And I think we've already heard from Jatin many companies which are not digital native, including DTDCs, Punj Lloyds, who have all adapted it.
Great. I think that will answer the question. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. I think we have just crossed about 1 minute of over our 4 p.m. Deadline. However, it was a fascinating discussion, and any further questions that we have been receiving, while we can't take them right now due to time constraint, we'll make sure that those questions are forwarded to each of you, and we'll get you to answer those questions and get the answers sent to the respective viewers. Thank you so much, Sumit, for taking out time today to be here with us. Truly delighted to hear your cloud journey. Thanks, Priyo, for that wonderful discussion, and thanks, Jatin, for taking us through an overview. And everyone, all of our audience, it is wonderful that all of you joined us here in the middle of the day, and I hope that you all are staying safe, and we just are a day away from the weekend, so one more day to go. Till then, stay safe and have a good day. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.